Hi everyone, this is Carrie with Happy Fish Tarot, reeling in wisdom from the Sea of Tarot, and you are watching Tarot Tuesday. I'm kind of excited because with this video, I'm going to be going back to my roots of tarot a little bit. So when I first began working with tarot and I got my first deck, I was using the cards primarily as a source of creative inspiration for working on my novels. And I figured it's really perfect timing to talk about this because we're right at the end of October, and in November we have National Novel Writing Month coming up, or NaNoWriMo as we call it for short. So NaNoWriMo, it happens every November. Anyone can participate, it's absolutely free. And the whole idea is you have 30 days, so the whole month of November, to write a 50,000 word novel. I love this concept because you're forced to write relatively quickly, so it really gives you that opportunity to put your inner critic on hold and just kind of bust through the writing process. So if you've always wanted to write a novel, but you've been kind of daunted by what a big task that is, definitely look into NaNoWriMo. It's not too late to participate. Today I'm going to share 3 tarot spreads that I've created that help with the writing process. So there's lots of information already out there about using tarot alongside writing. I own and recommend the book Tarot for Writers by Corinne Kenner. It's really cool. I actually find myself referencing that book quite a bit. And there's lots of other, blog posts and things all over the internet, so you can find more information on this. So there's lots of different ways to use tarot for the writing process. You can really take it as far as your imagination is willing to travel. But what I'm going to share with you today will be 3 different spreads that I've made up that I think you might find useful. You can use these if you're totally starting from scratch and you're just kind of trying to pull an idea out of thin air, or you can also use these if you have some existing ideas but you want the cards to help you kind of refine those ideas. So the first spread that I'm going to share with you will help you get some clarity around the theme of your novel. I think this is an important thing to have a good grasp on from the get-go. When you have a pretty clear idea of what the theme of your story is, you can kind of use that as an anchor to tie in all of the other aspects of your story. So these first 2 cards would represent just sort of the overarching theme of the story, and you could just use 1 card if you wanted to, and then maybe pull a clarifier if you want to get a little more juice out of that, but I like having the complexity of 2 cards for that. And then this card would represent the feelings and thoughts that the theme of the story could evoke in a potential reader. So this is just to get you a little more in line of thinking, what kind of takeaway message or what kind of feeling states would you like someone to have when they read your novel? Is it more contemplative? Is it, going to be heartwarming? So this card will help you look at that. And then finally, this 4th card here will represent why the theme is important. So I tried to keep these spread positions kind of open-ended so that you can sort of just use the cards to give you some food for thought about those different elements of your story's theme. Okay, so this next spread is designed to help you flesh out your characters. And I am particularly fond of this aspect of the story creation process because I'm definitely a sucker for an interesting character. I can forgive a lot of other stuff in a story if the characters really keep me captivated. Okay, so our first card, which is going to be that one way up there at the top, represents the developmental state of the character at the beginning of the story. These 2 cards here, the underlying card represents who the character is within, and then the card overlaying that represents who the character is without, or in other words, what parts of themselves do they show to the world and what parts of them are kept within them. This one represents the character's greatest strength, and then that one over there represents the character's greatest weakness. And then this final card down here represents the character's developmental stage at the end of the story. As with all of these spreads, this spread here for the plot is something that you can kind of tweak to your preferences. I have it designed sort of to go along with the story that is kind of generally following a hero's journey type format, but of course there's a lot of different ways you could go with this. If you want to keep it a little more simple to begin with, you can't go wrong with just 3 cards, beginning, middle, and end, but this, what I have here, is going to be a little higher level of complexity than that. The first card, that one way up there, represents the introduction to the plot, so kind of how things get started, what's happening in the very initial stages of the story. And then this card, which is kind of overlaying that card off to the side, would represent the inciting incident. So this is the action that happens that takes the plot progression from the ordinary world off into really the action of the actual story. This one over here represents challenges. So in other words, what gives the plot complexity? This one would represent the darkest hour, so the part of the plot where it seems that things have kind of hit rock bottom, so to speak. This one over here would represent the triumph, so how is this card overcome? And then this final card over here would represent the ending and kind of how things wind down within the plot. So that is it. Those are 3 spreads that I hope will kind of get you started in the right direction if you're thinking of doing National Novel Writing Month, or even if you're just thinking of doing some writing on your own time. So one last thing, I had to have a little bit of an ego moment here. I wanted to show you this. This is the product of my participation in last year's National Novel Writing Month. So it is, yes, an actual physical book. I wrote a series of short stories which were inspired by the cards of the major arcana. One of the benefits to winning, quote unquote, National Novel Writing Month is that you, at least last year, I hope it's still the case, you get a free physical copy of your novel from CreateSpace, which is super cool. So just wanted to show you that. Pretty cool stuff. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed already, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. I put out videos every Tuesday, so I will talk to you next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.